Thank you for not saying my actual title. If anyone has seen it, it's Innovation Activation Specialist, which I'm not sure many people know what that is. So this is a busy slide. I do know that. I just kind of wanted to throw up everything that I'm going to be talking about onto one slide, so feel free to read it, and I'm going to talk to kind of the key things about JLABS at Toronto. So we are a life science healthcare incubator. We're actually located on the 13th floor here in the Mars Tower, the Mars West Tower. We have the whole floor there. I'm sure some of you, I think I recognize some of you were here today as we did a spotlight on some of our companies. So we have companies that range from consumer health companies, digital health, medical devices and diagnostics, as well as therapeutic companies. The space is comprised of lab space, private office space, common area, and over $3 million of top-of-the-line equipment that our therapeutic and medical device and different groups have access to use, as well as an event space that we host at events and programming. And what we offer our companies really falls into three main buckets. So the first is we are a capital-efficient model, so really a company can come in, use the space, and get started right away. So they don't have to spend money on the infrastructure, on equipment that they need to use, or really anything that they can focus their capital and their funding right on the technology that they're working on. We also run a commercialization curriculum or programming in our space, so this can include legal basics for startups, your regulatory roadmap, business development basics, how to pitch your non-confidential pitch deck, and multiple different programs that we don't just offer the companies in our space, but the ecosystem as a whole. So anyone's invited to come to those events. We also host panels with industry leaders and whatnot. Included in these events, we hold a Meet with Investors program. So we do know that funding, especially for healthcare companies, is really hard to come by here in Canada. So we try our best to bring as many and as much investment and investors into the space as we can. So the Meet with program brings in investors from across the US as well as across Canada to come in, talk about their areas of interest, and actually meet one-on-one with companies. So companies, again, throughout the whole ecosystem can apply to meet with these investors and actually pitch what they're working on. We also just launched the Investor Hub. So about 10 investors have dedicated a day a month to come into the space and actually meet with our companies in the space. So increasing that, the time that our companies get to spend with investors and also their network. Lastly, kind of the invaluable piece of being part of JLABS is you get access to the greater J&J network. We are the world's largest healthcare company, and we have expertise in multiple different areas, as well as global expertise. So if you're looking to go into China and you want to know about the regulatory landscape there, we can connect you to that group. We also, each company in our space has a liaison or a coach or a mentor that has an expertise in their area. So if they're in vision care, they're in vision care R&D. If they're in oncology, then they're in oncology. And all of this, the best part, we are a no strings attached model. So what does that mean? We don't see any confidential information, we don't own any IP, and we have no first rights to any of the companies that come into our space. With 60 days notice, they can leave. So we actually invite investors into our space that are competitors. We've had AbbVie Ventures, we've had Novartis, we've had Merck. So we're really just trying to encourage our companies to be successful. So there is a selection committee to come into the space. We look for three main things. The science is number one. You have to have compelling and credible science or technology. Are you addressing an area of significant unmet market need or unmet patient need, as well as their credible team. So this doesn't mean that your team has been around the block and done it before. You can be a team right out of a university incubator. We have many of those in our space. And then it is a rented space, so you do have to pay rent in order to be in the space. So as I said, we are no strings attached, so my companies could do a lot better job talking about what they do than I could. I'm going to highlight a few. I mean, they're on the screen, and I'm going to go to the next slide as well to show. So we have 40 companies in our space right now. Among those 4 areas, on here you can see a consumer health company named Sun Care. So they're developing a spot that actually goes on your skin, and it changes color when your sunscreen wears off, so you know when to reapply your sunscreen. They actually needed to do clinical trials, and so we connected them, obviously, especially today. There's not a lot of sun in the winter here, so we connected them with our office in Australia, so they were able to go down there and do clinical trials and then come back, and they're still doing work in JLABS. Some digital health companies that we have up there, Winterlight Labs, you may have heard of. They just received HDF funding. They use artificial intelligence to look at speech patterns in order to diagnose Alzheimer's or mental illnesses a lot quicker, and DNA stacks on there, so they're developing a cloud-based genomics platform. So as I said, we do have 40 companies in our space right now. About 50% of them are therapeutics. The rest are spread evenly between those other 3. Grace from Self-Care Catalyst, she is actually in our space as well. And I know Eve Medical, Jessica, was at a HealthTO event, the last one as well, so they're actually in our space too. So here's some pictures of the space. Oops, I think I pressed the wrong one. So if you're ever, it's a pretty cool space. If you're ever in the building, come to our events, check it out. And we're on the 13th floor. Thank you.